for North Carolinians for home education. We're here to help you homeschool with confidence and joy. I'm your host, Matthew McDill, and we have as our co-host today, T-Essence. Mac is back.
Yes.
That's good. I'm glad you're back.
I'm glad to be back. It's been a long
you.
time, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us what we got going today.
All right. So for homeschool news, so excited because the Thrive Homeschool Conference is this week. So we're going to give you all the last minute information and answer some frequently asked questions. And then today, very also exciting that we get to have a homeschool conversation with Christian apologist Laura Powell, and she will be one of the speakers at the conference.
That's right.
So that's cool. And then Homeschool Helps with Amanda. She will continue her discussion of various homeschool approaches. And today she's going to be taking a closer look at traditional homeschooling. So
great.
Good show.
Sounds good. So we've been talking about the conference for a long time, and we're finally here. So this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is the conference, the 25th, 26th, and 27th at the Benton Convention Center in Winston-Salem. So if you're not already registered, it's not too late.
It's not too
you
late.
can come to the conference and register on site.
Yes.
Registration on Thursday starts at 1 in the afternoon, and then Friday and Saturday mornings at 8:30 in the morning, you'll be able to come and register on site. So some of you haven't registered, which means you either haven't heard about it, which means you haven't been listening to this show up to this point, or you're undecided.
Yes, undecided.
So let me help you. This is going to be my 19th conference without missing.
Wow.
There's a reason for that. It's because it is fantastic. And it is exactly what we need every year.
Yes.
So I just want to say it's worth it. This
Yes,
is the thing that you want to do if you're undecided. Don't you think so?
I agree. Especially for people who are new to homeschooling or considering homeschooling, I would say definitely go. That's when I went my first time, and it helped propel me in the right direction, confident and encouraged and ready. And then every year since, like you said, after a year, we love being with our littles, but we can get a little tired. Sometimes we get a little discouraged. Sometimes we don't know if we should change curriculum. And then you go to the conference and you get encouraged and you get equipped and you touch the curriculum, you meet the people, and you literally leave like it's your first year again.
Refreshed.
Like, I am ready to do this.
Yep,
So
that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. You should come.
One of the neat things that we do is we have special gatherings, and that's going to be on Thursday night. Why don't you tell us about that?
Okay, yes. So our special gatherings will be Thursday evening at 8:30. So it'll be a perfect time to connect and get to know people within special circumstances. So we have like new homeschoolers, homeschooling special needs children. We have parents of preschoolers, homeschooling as a single parent, homeschooling with a chronic illness, military families, parents of gifted children, and then the gathering that I myself will be hosting, which is the multicultural homeschoolers. So definitely come so you can meet your people. I think that's one of the beautiful things about the Thrive Conference is you don't just get information. You don't just get to see the curriculum, which that would be enough.
Yeah.
But you also get to meet your people. So
That's
you
right.
leave with the community. And
For sure.
And the benefit of this being on Thursday, the first day of the conference, is that the rest of the weekend you can hang out with your people.
That's
and
right.
you like leave with a new little homeschool family. So so that's exciting. And extending from our multicultural gathering, we're also going to have a workshop, Multicultural Connections, which I myself and Luz Velasquez, we will be leading together. And it would just be a chance for us to expand upon the intentional effort that NCHE is making, which is to just open all doors for families of different ethnic backgrounds. And so Luz is there. She speaks Spanish. Myself will be there. And we'll just be kind of talking about the details of homeschooling as a multicultural family and how to do that well within a diverse setting, connecting with people across different backgrounds, and just having a chance again to meet our people, to leave equipped, to leave encouraged. So
That's
we're
right.
super excited.
That's great.
Yes.
Looking
yes.
forward to it. And that was last year was the first one for that, and it was a big success.
Oh, it was awesome.
So
yeah,
that's so
it was
great.
amazing.
All right, so we're going to talk about some frequently asked questions.
Okay.
What are they?
All right, let me ask you some questions. Since you've been 19 years,
That's right.
I think you should probably
And I'm
be
still
an
going to
expert
look
by
at
now.
my notes.
I know.
But go ahead.
You should be an expert now. Okay, so can you just attend for parts of the conference?
Definitely.
Okay.
You can. So you can come one day, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Friday's the longest, but you can also come on Saturday. Saturday's the cheapest if you want the cheapest one-day pass.
Okay. Now, why would a person come for just one day?
They shouldn't. They should. They should come
too
for all
much.
of it.
Yes.
But at the same time, maybe your schedule doesn't permit
Absolutely.
you, it's better to come one day if you can make it.
Yes.
Visit the vendor hall, catch a few workshops.
Absolutely.
Than to not come at all.
That's good to know. It's really
Yeah.
good because that might be why people are undecided. So,
right.
yes. And do we need to sign up for certain workshops?
Nope. It's a individual, couple, or family pass, and once you're in, you can go to all the workshops.
Okay. And that's good to know because you might, go into a workshop and find out like, oh, that's not exactly what I was looking for. And you can just bow out, go to the
That's
other
right.
workshop, and you're like, oh, yes, this is the one I was looking for.
That's
so
right.
it's good that you have that flexibility. Now, is child care provided?
Nope. There's no child care, but there is a children's program
Okay.
that is kind of a separate paid for part of the conference. It's really good quality, but it's not automatic with your registration.
Okay. And that childcare you're referring to is Giant Cow.
That's right.
So they are a wonderful ministry, and they take the babies because I've taken mine, and they take such great care of them. Even my teen has volunteered, and you get discount. So if you have a teenager, they can volunteer, and you get discounts for your little ones. And it's a great experience. So.
And just to clarify, I think she meant babies.
Oh, I'm
because it's all only potty trained. It's not like babies, actually.
I'm so sorry.
But babies,
I call my 14-year-old my baby
That's
still.
right.
Yes, they have to be at least 3 and potty trained, not babies.
Just making sure.
Being sure. Yes, your baby, you can wear with you. So with that, since we're talking about children, if our kids don't go to the program, or if we do have tiny babies, can they come to the workshops with us?
Definitely.
Okay.
They should be able to go with you wherever you need to go.
Yes. I mean, we're homeschoolers after
That's
all.
right. Of course.
We travel as a pack. Okay. Now, do you have discounts for those one-day prices?
For Saturday, as I said, it's the shortest, cheapest one. So, yes.
Okay. Nice. And do you have to be a member of NCHE to attend the conference?
Definitely not. But you can
Yes.
join the conference, join NCHE, and we'll tell you how to do it once you're there.
Yes, and you should, right?
That's right.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's see. 2 more questions. Do you have to be registered for the conference to attend the college fair?
No.
Oh.
If you want to come just to the college fair and not go to anything else, you can. That's
Wow.
pretty great, too.
That is awesome. I don't think I actually knew that. So that's cool.
So find out about the college fair by going to the conference website, and you can see when that is and how to get into it.
Okay. And last question. Are all of the talks Christian-based?
So they're not. A lot of them are, because that's the perspective that we come from. But we have many, many that are just very generally of general interest that helps all kinds of homeschoolers from any background.
Absolutely. And that is
Yeah.
one of NCHE's, our core values is being able to homeschool or help all homeschoolers.
That's right.
Yes, of all backgrounds. So cool. Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks.
We are well
Hope-
informed.
you're ready to go now. Okay, we're going to dive into homeschool conversations. Laura Powell is a Christian apologist with Women in Apologetics and an Affair with Reason. She serves as a writer, speaker, editor, teacher, mentor, podcaster, and board member. Since graduating from Duke University in 1998 and from Denver Seminary in 2004, she has ministered in over 20 countries on 5 continents. Her considerable experience in ministering to Muslim women around the world has given her a unique voice in the world of apologetics as an Islam ministry specialist. But she enjoys sharing reasons for the hope that she has in Christ with people of all backgrounds and worldviews. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah. And we're glad you're coming to the conference this year for the first time. That's exciting.
I'm really excited, and I was listening to Essence talk about it, about finding your people, and it reminded me of several conversations I've had with people who encouraged me to go this year and be a part of it. They said, you're just going to love it. You are going to get there, and you're going to be like, I have found my people.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm excited about that.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you've at least met 2 of us. So we'll
That's right.
we'll
That's
meet
right.
definitely when we get there. Okay, well, I want us to chat a little bit about 2 of the workshops you're going to be giving, and I don't want to just give a commercial. I want us to really give some of the content to our listening audience, but we also want to tempt them to come to hear more, right? So
Yes.
the 2 workshops we have for you was Jesus a Socialist, and the second is Do All Paths Lead to God? Discovering Truth in a Pluralistic World. I think my first question for you is already given. Was Jesus a socialist? Tell us about this one.
Well, yeah, the reason I wanted to tackle this question this year is that studies are showing that 70% of millennials say they are likely to vote socialist. 55% of women in the United States of America today say they would prefer to live in a socialist country than in the United States.
Wow.
1 in 3 millennials has a favorable view of communism. There, more than half, about 57% of millennials actually believe that the Communist Manifesto provides more freedom and equality than the Declaration of Independence. So this is quite alarming. I'm old enough to have lived through and grown up through a time when about half the countries of the world were socialist, and knew a lot of people who ministered in those countries. I recall what they were like from firsthand accounts. And a lot of people are claiming today that Jesus was a socialist or would have been a socialist if he were here right now. And so I've spent quite a bit of time reading through dozens of books, in addition, of course, to studying the Bible and tackling this question. Was Jesus a socialist? Would he be a socialist? And I think it's a really important topic for such a time as this. As you might imagine from what I've said so far, the short answer is no. Jesus was not a socialist, nor is there any reason to believe he would be. But in my talk, I'll be looking at passages that people commonly use to say that Jesus was a socialist, or that the Bible supports socialism. We'll be looking at those passages. We'll also be looking at other passages that socialists seem to avoid that indicate Jesus would not be a socialist.
And so what kind of responses to this, have you done this talk before, and what kind of responses have you got from it?
Well, I've shared this on a few different podcasts and written a few articles about it. And the response has largely been, people have said, eye-opening, really helpful. People will say, well, I had a feeling that just didn't make sense and didn't seem right, but I didn't know how to defend the truth or how to support my view. And so this is really helpful. And so largely very, very encouraging feedback from people who have heard this or even believed this, but had not really thought of it a whole lot. So, I've heard it said and read this saying, I didn't come up with this, but people have said a lot of times the most common way that people get their beliefs is the same way people get the cold, by being around other people who have it. And that's just not okay. That's not acceptable. We have to dig deeper than that. And I think that that's a big part of the reason why even Christians today are saying that Jesus may have been a socialist, from hearing people around them, but not hearing the other side.
Well, I think confusion and lots of different opinions takes us to your next workshop as well. Do all paths lead to God? Discovering truth in a pluralistic world. So that's another question I guess you can answer and give us some insight into that.
Yeah, so I was telling my cousins a few months ago what I was going to be speaking on this year, and when both of these topics came up, was Jesus a socialist and do all paths lead to God? She said, what are you going to say after no? I mean, like how long do you have to make that last? Yes, we'll make it last. There's plenty to say about both of these topics, but I'm not just going to address the yes or no question, but again, give people evidence, give people equipping responses that they can utilize in conversations with their friends and their neighbors. So we're going to look at what truth is, what truth is not. Can we know the truth? How can we know the truth? And how can we apply truth claims and ways of knowing this truth and arriving at the truth to religious truth claims? And so we'll look at some different truth claims from different religious perspectives and worldviews and evaluate them against the truth claims of Christianity and look at the evidence from the perspective of, for example, cosmology, to determine whether or not the universe had a beginning or whether it's always existed. We'll look at philosophy, use philosophy to answer the question, does the evidence show that there is a need for a creator given the science, or could everything have originated by chance? Mm-hmm. We'll utilize basic physics, and I know some of these words are probably scary: cosmology, philosophy, physics. This is not going to be a college level lecture. You don't have to have any background in any of these subjects to be able to follow the talk. It is geared towards teenagers primarily, but I think their parents will also find it really helpful and valuable, I hope. But we'll look at physics and biochemistry, astronomy, to evaluate whether it's more reasonable to believe the universe and everything in it appeared by chance or was intelligently designed. We'll use historical evidence to examine prophecies from Jehovah's Witnesses versus from the Old Testament, mm-hmm. and see which one aligns with reality, which one aligns with truth, and also to determine, to look at the evidence as to whether Jesus was crucified or not crucified. You may know that most Muslims believe Jesus was not crucified. He was not killed or crucified, according to the Quran. And so what does the evidence say? Mm-hmm. And then we'll also kind of utilize the principles we've talked about in those different areas to discuss how we might arrive at how we might utilize evidence to evaluate whether it's reasonable to believe that Jesus was actually raised from the dead. And then I'll also address a few common objections made by pluralists, that is, people who believe that all paths do lead to God or that all religions can be equally true. So I'll give some people some very, very practical information and tips for engaging in conversations. I'm an evangelist at heart, and I love to see people equipped to be able to engage in conversations about truth and worldview with confidence and mm-hmm. with joy. It's ever since I've become aware of, informed with apologetics and evidence for what we believe as Christians, I have come to really enjoy and look forward to conversations with non-Christians as well as Christians. And so I hope that my joy will be contagious, and I hope that the evidence, the information I can give will also help other people to be excited to have similar conversations.
So in just about a minute here, what are your thoughts on why this is so important for the teens to be able to think about and prepare for life there?
Right. Well, this is also pluralism is the dominant perspective of our day, that all paths are equally right and true and good. They all lead to God, and you could believe whatever you want. Your truth is true for you. My truth is true for me. And the only perspectives that are being pushed out of the public square are the perspectives generally of Christianity, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. And so we need to be equipped to respond to the culture. Mm-hmm. This is coming from schools, the media, entertainment, neighbors, friends. And so I think it's really critical that we be equipped in this area.
That's great. So we've been talking to Laura, and her blog, speaking request form, contact information, previous interviews, and more can be found at her website, laurazpowell.org. Is that the best place? Any other places you want to send us or tell us how we can contact you?
Let's see. If it's easier to remember, anaffairwithreason.com. Okay. Or anaffairwithreason.org. Both of those URLs will also lead you to the same website. I own all of those URLs.
Great. Well, we sure appreciate you being here, and this is really, really important content. I'm excited that we have our families and teens have the opportunity to to benefit from this, and we look forward to meeting you very soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. See you soon. Okay, we are
Definitely.
moving on to Homeschool Helps with Amanda.
Yes. So today, Amanda will continue her discussion of various types of homeschooling, homeschool approaches, and we're going to look at traditional homeschooling.
All right, let's see what she has on that.
All right.
Welcome to Homeschool Helps with Amanda. I'm Amanda Wares, Homeschool Helps Director with NCHE. So last time we did a big overview on all the different, well, not all, but almost all the main homeschooling approaches. So today and for the next several weeks, we're going to be doing a deeper dive into each one of those homeschooling approaches. Today we're going to focus on the traditional homeschooling approach. So traditional homeschooling, again, is basically what you're used to. You have textbooks, workbooks, or online work that is teacher-led or parent-led, divided up into lessons and subjects, specific subjects like math, language arts, history or social studies, science. Now, why would someone choose the traditional method of homeschooling? One, many people choose it because it's what they're used to. It's familiar. It's what most of us, if we went to traditional public or private brick and mortar school, it's what we grew up with. And that feels familiar. A lot of times, if a family is pulling children out of brick and mortar school to homeschool, they might start out with the traditional method of homeschooling because it's what the kids are familiar with as well. So it's an easier transition. Now, they might also choose it because it's very clear, divided up into grade levels. So, it's easy to see what level, based upon this curriculum, what level your child is working on. So it gives a lot of feedback that way. Also, there are kids that's their learning style. They thrive on workbooks and checking off the boxes and are very able to take in information that way. So definitely, it works for many families. What are the cons of this approach? One, for certain kids, especially if they have that kinesthetic learning style, they need to move or touch things or whatever in order to take in that information. It's not going to work for them. They're not going to be able to learn well that way. Especially for struggling learners, if they're working on a different level than their grade, then that might be discouraging to them. It can be expensive. Doesn't have to be, but it can be. And it can be really time consuming. Some traditional homeschooling programs can take a long time to get all that work done. So especially in a family with multiple kids, it may be overwhelming, time consuming. So sometimes that doesn't work either. And what are some examples of the traditional curriculum? What are some programs that are traditional? One, ABECA. It's been around a long time. ABECA and Bob Jones were one of the first companies that would even sell to homeschoolers. So tried and true, been around a long time, traditional homeschooling companies. Other ones would be Alpha Omega, ACE, School of Tomorrow, or you might hear them called PACES. Those are familiar. Several different online programs. Rod and Staff would be one. Christian Light Education would be one. So there's more, but those are the ones immediately that jump to mind. Now, I hope that this has been helpful today, this deep dive into the traditional method of homeschooling.
So good. Such great information. So thank you all for joining us this week. We love to hear from you. So send your questions and your feedback to the Homeschool Show at nche.com. And please help others find this show by subscribing, rating, leaving reviews on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. And if you think that this show will be helpful to your friends and your family, let them know about it. And so to learn how to subscribe to our show as a podcast, then go to nche.com/The Homeschool Show.
And with a couple extra seconds here, I just want to mention, as you were talking about before, that you can join NCHE.
Yes.
You can go to nche.com/join and find out what it means to be a member. There are a lot of great benefits and mentoring and all sorts of things, so you want to check that out. And until next week, we'll see you again. Continue to homeschool with confidence and joy.